So I will stop making music for Spotify. What does that mean? I will get into that at the end of this video. First of all, let me talk to you about my experience sharing music on Spotify. 4 years ago, I was starting my education in musical composition, and I like to improvise a little bit on the piano, and I decided to start publishing my music on Spotify. Now, granted, in the beginning, the quality of my music was not the same as now, and even though right now I have much better equipment, it still could be way, way better. I was thinking that in 4 years I will definitely be able to afford studying for my master's. Well, the answer to that question, if I can study my master's or not, the answer is no, I can't. And it's because I invested in the wrong thing. This video is for people who are planning to invest into music publishing, and for Spotify themselves to realize the mistakes and the problems that they have and hopefully fix it. So I live in Germany, and the amount of money that I need to survive is around 930 euros per month. It's also the amount that I need to continue with my visa. So if we check how many streams do I need to be able to reach that point. So I calculated it, and the average amount of streams I need to reach to that point is 250,000 streams. And those are, of course, monthly. So how many streams do I make right now after 4 years of being on Spotify? I have around 10,000 monthly listeners. I expect it to reach 10,000 again because I just uploaded my new release. And around 20,000 streams, 20 to 25,000. Which means that I have less than 10th of the amount I need to be able to live in the country that I live in. So you might ask yourself, then how do I make enough money, or how do I bring in some new listeners? The best way to get new listeners that are also fans is by investing in advertisement. Now, Andrew right here, he has a whole channel talking about advertisement and making profit of Spotify. And it will almost bring you no profit at all unless you have enough money. By enough money, I mean around 2,000. In this video right here where he talks about a profitable Spotify campaign, this person paid around $2,000 to be able to get a profitable campaign. This is more than double the amount that I need to live in the country that I live in. If you're an artist that can afford this, then for sure, go for it. But if you're an artist that cannot afford paying 2,000 every time you want to release some music, then this is obviously not reasonable at all. So there is one more method that is a little bit cheaper, which is a website like SubmitHub or any other website that have a similar idea. The way these websites work is that there are people who made playlists. Then they advertised these playlists to have people on them. So let's say a specific playlist is for sleeping with piano music, or for piano music for babies, let's say. If I make piano music for babies, then I take my music and I send it to them and I pay a specific amount of money. Now, granted, this is much cheaper than running advertisements, and it will show you a lot more listeners are there, but it doesn't really make fans. It makes listeners. It brings people to listen to your music, but it doesn't bring any fans really, or like a very low amount. But still, it is very, very good because it does bring in some amount of money. This is the method I have reached to 10,000 monthly listeners by doing this for a very long time, actually. Now, also, again, granted, you can pay around 300 and have much more luck and get much more listeners than me. But I cannot afford that. So I pay around 25 euros per release, which is going to barely do anything, but it will definitely help. But I guess the reason why I made this video is not because of these two, it's because of the third method, which is ran directly by Spotify, which is the idea of playlisting. The way that playlisting works is explained like this, but it doesn't work like this. Spotify says that when you make a music, you can just pitch it for Spotify for a chance of your release being on one of Spotify's playlists. However, it's not really fully like this, and you will realize that after a very long time of being on this platform, which is not good. So I will tell you exactly how this works. We have a playlist right here, for example, that my music perfectly fits into. It's called Peaceful Piano. Now, have I ever been in Peaceful Piano? No. Will I ever be in Peaceful Piano with the way that I'm currently operating? Also no. After a while of being on Spotify, you will realize that 3 kinds of people ends up in a playlist like this. 1, people who are already popular. We will look right here, we'll find Einaudi. Einaudi is a very popular artist. 10 million monthly listeners. The second way to get playlisted into something like this is by having your music pitched by the distributor and not by you. So if there is a verified distributor, a person who sends Spotify a lot of music, they have a form of a relationship with Spotify. And these people filling out the form to pitch your music for you will increase the chances of it being on a playlist. The third method is mass production, and it kind of runs hand in hand with the second one. So you have this production company that's buying pieces. Some people have this gig of selling their music, and there are people or companies that will buy all of these pieces and then mass produce with many different artist names. Now, this is a little bit of a conspiracy region that I'm getting into right here, but you can kind of check that for yourself. I mean, look at these artists, for example. If we check the first one, yes, they are verified, but they have no information about them. Now, that might be like not a huge red flag for you, but you will realize that this is something very common. I mean, the second artist is not even verified at all. The third artist right here, okay, they are verified and they wrote a little bit about themselves. That's very good luck. But when we go here again, not verified. When we go to the next one, verified, nothing in the description, nothing in the bio. Yeah. And this just shows you, not verified, this just shows you that for some reason, there are all of these artist names that have small amount of pieces, by the way. Some of them have like only 2 or 3 pieces that end up on this playlist. And I cannot help but to explain it other than there is someone out there who's mass publishing pieces. And this will, of course, give them a much higher chance of being in a playlist like this than someone like me who's only uploading my own music. One thing that you'll also notice with these pieces, if you open this playlist yourself and listen to them, is that beside these popular artists and the artists that are very clearly with a distributor, these ones that are sketchy, like this one, for example, right here, or this one that is not verified, they sound almost exactly the same. Okay, they're not the same. Let's get that out of the way. They're not exactly the same. But it almost feels like there is no character. There is no art, dare I say. Spotify talks a lot about the musicians on their website as artists, but their playlists are filled with copy-pasters and not artists. That's not how you make art. You don't just copy-paste a specific exact idea of a piece to another piece and just keep making more and more and more and then call it art. That's not really art. Now, I do understand Peaceful Piano wants peaceful piano pieces, but there are so many ways to make a peaceful piano piece. I detuned my piano to have a microtonal scale, but I also played in the same similar style of like a peaceful piano. Should I also not have the chance with a piece like that to be in this playlist? Is that really fair? Well, in my opinion, it isn't fair. But I know for a fact that my piece will never be playlisted if it was microtonal, because it doesn't follow the recipe that these people are making. And for the last months, I've been really trying to follow this exact recipe of making pieces like this, but it's just something that I can't do. It's not something I want to do or can do. And it just makes me sad that I have to be someone else And I have to have an extremely different mentality than the composer mentality. I have to have the copy paster mentality in order to make it to something like this, or to have a distributor. And you might say, oh, why didn't you have a distributor? I did have a short period that I worked with distributors that I like, but I have to be very honest, they take a huge chunk of the amount of money that I'm going to end up having. It's just not reasonable. In order for me to have actual fans, I need to be playlisted. And in order to be playlisted, I have to follow these rules. And then after I get playlisted, I'll have enough money to advertise through websites like SubmitHub, where I can increase the amount of viewership to a point where I'm getting profit. And then I have to use that money to pay for websites like Facebook, for example, to share my music so I can finally have fans. And after 4 years, I haven't finished the first step. This is extremely tiring. Doing this is extremely tiring, and it's emotionally exhausting. That's why I am done making music for Spotify. I will make music for myself. I will still upload music to Spotify. I will still pitch it for them to playlist it, hopefully. But I am expecting to never ever be playlisted, because I know that the type of music that I make is just not copy paste what this style is. I know that I'm not popular enough to be in a playlist like this, and I'm not gonna be with a distributor that's gonna end up taking sometimes half of my money, sometimes even more than half, just to have my music on this platform to be listened to. If it would come to recommendations that I have to Spotify, I would recommend them to have a checklist, things that every artist has to have in order to apply for a playlist. They have to write a bio, they have to be verified, they have to put their links down. And the second thing is that the artists themselves have to pitch these pieces and not just a distributor. And the third thing, these playlists are extremely important for small artists. They are not important at all for people like Einaudi. He's gonna barely benefit from it. He's already making tens of thousands of dollars from Spotify alone, not including his concerts, not including everything else. I cannot even make a concert because I cannot hire a concert hall. I cannot pay for the advertisement for that concert. Don't you feel like it would be a little more beneficial to invest in the small artists that are on the website, that are actually trying their hardest to reach out there, rather than the artists that already made it, or the artists that half their money is taken away from, or the companies that are mass producing music and there's this random artist name that is not even verified? I hope this will go somewhere, but chances are it might just not go anywhere. However, if you liked this video, and if you subscribed, and if you came into my streams, you will find even more information about this entire subject. And I really hope that this video makes it out to a lot of artists and makes it out to Spotify, so hopefully it will make a difference. And I also hope that a lot of people who are planning on becoming artists and make music on Spotify see this video, because they might invest this in the same mistake that I made. That's it for my video, however. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my live streams or in the next video. Bye bye.